Welcome to BFS TV, powered by Business Finishing School. If you're in business, you need Business Finishing School. I'm Matt Monero with Business Finishing School founder Rick Sapio. How you doing, my friend?
Hey, Matt. Good to see you.
Always good to see you. The reason we bring you BFS TV is to enhance the community feel. The tribe that exists within Business Finishing School deserves a new experience and a unique experience, and that's why we created BFS TV. It's open to the public too. It lives on our YouTube channel, and it lives in our emails that you'll be getting from us. But anyone can join Business Finishing School. You can come to our next event, which is bfssummit.com. Today, Rick and I are talking about how do you know whether your employee base is into your company? How do you know whether people have bought into what it is that you're doing, or whether or not they're 1 foot on the dock and 1 foot on the boat? Rick, what was that quote you have mentioned many times, and I apologize for not having it specific, about how many employees actually are disengaged from their work?
It's a famous Gallup poll, 5 million people. It was not too long ago, 5 million people were polled. 72% of the people said some version of, I'm not engaged in the business, I don't know what the business stands for, I'm not happy here. And some of those, a small percentage, were actually working against the business, either looking for another job or sabotage or whatever. But interesting, they went back of the 5 million, and they circled back with 15,000 and said, what would it take for you to really want to be there? And the answers were astounding. There were simple things like clarity of purpose, clarity of values, clear role and expectation. Simple stuff. Why don't people do it?
Well, because they don't know where to start. That is what Business Finishing School is. We give you the roadmap of how to put the 12 primary principles of business into your business. But today we're going to specifically talk on how you might be able to test the commitment of your employee base. Because I believe in order to make a change, you have to know where you're starting from. And so we created a little simple, quick exercise that you can take with us. We'll throw it up on the screen right here. We call it the triangle of trouble or the triangle of success. And it's really very simple. I want you to think about a triangle. Rick and I will talk about each point on the triangle. But at the top of the triangle, I want you to write in the word or visualize the word non-accountable. At the next point down below, I want you to visualize the word non-appreciated. And on the other side, the other point of the triangle, I want you to visualize the word non-contributing. If your employee base feels one of the words that connect to the triangles, you might have a chance to save it. If they have two, if they feel two, it's going to be tough. And if they have all three, it's almost impossible to bring that employee back into the fold of the culture. So Rick and I are going to move in just a second, but Rick, let's talk about this piece of accountability, contributing, and appreciated.
It's 100% connected to your culture, the culture that you built. And culture starts at the top. You know, you've heard the phrase that a fish rots from the top. Culture is the same way. And culture is nothing more than the tone that you're setting for your business. So oftentimes people say, you know, I'm running a business, I don't know how the culture got here. Well, guess what? Business leaders cause the culture. So if you have a culture that feels not accountable, not committed, etc., that's because they're learning that from you.
I'm telling you, if you want to reconnect and engage with your employees and get them to reconnect to the company, the first thing you need to do is make them accountable through what we talk about in Business Finishing School, through expectation and objectives. What are they responsible for doing? They want to do good work. They don't want to be halfway in, halfway out, but you as the owner have done a poor job of telling them what their responsibility is so they can feel accountable to it. The next piece is when they feel accountable, they understand that they're contributing. And people want to contribute. If we want to talk about millennials, the younger generation, which everybody's so down on millennials, and I think it's wrong, millennials want contribution. They want it in all areas of their life, not just in outside of work, they want it inside of work. So if you hold them accountable, give them the expectations, they begin to feel like they're contributing.
So let's put it on the ground in a practical way. One of the things we advocate strongly inside BFS, which by the way is Business Finishing School, is each employee needs to have a crystal clear delineated role sheet. Here's all of my roles inside the business. Oftentimes I go into a company, I meet the employees, I say, what's your role? They're like, I do everything. No. Once you get that role established, then you can start creating KPIs. Each role should have a KPI associated with it. So if somebody's role is responsible for, I'll make it up, office expenses, have a KPI associated with that. If the office expenses come in lower than a certain amount, I'll give you half the savings as an example. Once you have the KPIs, you can then create bonus systems and structures, but you gotta start with a role. And what happens, and we were dealing with this in our meeting last week, who is responsible for each one of the different roles inside of the company? And you have to put somebody's name next to it. So oftentimes in a company, you'll see two people's names associated with a certain task. That task is not getting done. One person should own each task, one person should own each role. So that's how you put it on the ground.
That's how we cover accountability and we cover contribution. The last piece of this triangle of trouble and triangle of successes is the appreciation package. How do you show appreciation to your people? And so many business owners, Rick, think it has to be a big expense. And in my company, Commercial Fleet, what we have seen is sometimes the smallest element of celebration, a $10 Starbucks card packaged in an exciting competition, makes people fight tooth and nail. In our Halloween costume that we just had last week in our office, we had $100 for the person that wore their best costume. And then we had the people who didn't want to wear a costume as the judges. And we had things that you held up. People went crazy on this stuff. One of the ladies in her office spent she said she cleaned out 2 Hobby Lobbies making her costume with all these mirrors on it. She spent way more than the $100 that she would have won. And she didn't win, by the way.
Wow.
Little things can show tremendous amounts of appreciation, and that appreciation is a requirement to change the triangle of trouble into the triangle of success, which is simply removing the word non. You want your people to feel appreciated, contributing, and accountable.
And oftentimes, and you've seen the studies, I know you have too, it's not always about money. People think, well, I got to give my employees a bonus. It's not about money. People care about what you feel and think about them. They want to know that you appreciate them. So oftentimes just you calling them up and saying, how's your day? What's going on? What's happening with that client? Interest is a form of appreciation. I'm showing interest in that person. I heard a long time ago, when you look at a flower, what do you do when you see a flower? It doesn't matter what kind of a flower it is, you appreciate it. There's only one thing to do with a flower, and that's to appreciate it. That metaphor was, that's how you should look at every human being in your business, really any human being in your life, if you could appreciate them. And as it's coming out of my mouth, I'm thinking in my mind, there's someone who's close to me in the business that I'm not appreciating at the moment, so I'll let her know that I appreciate her.
Definitely. Listen, it's never too late to say you appreciate it. Now, here's the primary takeaway for today's episode. We want you to get the tool of how you can test. We believe in order to determine that you're going to change and that growth is about to occur, you need to beta test where you are. So we will give you this, the PDF version of the Triangle of Success and the Triangle of Trouble. Go to businessfinishingschool.com. We'll put it up on the website. Now here's the deal. You should print it and you should literally anonymously hand it to your employees. And just say, would you do me a favor? Circle which one you feel most on this. And then someone in the office, or maybe just a box at the end of the day, is sitting there, and you say, circle it, put it in a box. And they can go ahead and you, as the owner, after everybody leaves, can just simply see. You don't need to see a person's name. You can just simply see, what's the feel of your office right now? Do your people feel non-accountable, or do they feel contributing? Why not put that in the test? Are you afraid of that? We're giving it to you. Print it, hand it out to your team, tell them that all you want them to do is circle how they feel, don't put a name on it, don't use any special ink, and then just put it in the box that sits on the conference table. And at the end of the day, after everybody leaves, you as the owner, grab the box and sit down and either smile or cry.
And be grateful for their responses. Whenever business owners do things like this, I've seen it so often, they go, who said that they're not appreciated? I want to know who said that. Yeah. And that's exactly the opposite. You should be thankful that they're being honest. Don't you want honest feedback? So you've got to learn to be grateful and appreciative of their honesty.
Rick, a lot of business owners, as you and I know, myself included, we are afraid of these results. And the only way that we change is by opening up a level of transparency and be willing to ask for it. And then you don't have to make decisions on it, right? Here's what's going to happen. After I got my stuff, tomorrow I'm going to go in and do. No, just season on it. Just think about it for a couple days. Sleep on it for a couple nights. Do it on a Friday and think about it. Don't make any rash decisions, but start to collect the information. And then maybe you could go to somebody in the org and say, I don't know how you scored, but here are the results.
Yeah.
What can we do?
You want honest feedback, and you're making me think about it. I used to speak years ago, and I would speak with this other speaker, and at the end of every speech I made, I would say to the audience, and when people came up to me afterwards, I would say, what do I need to improve? And I would write down everything I needed to improve, and then the next day, what do I need to improve? And this guy was horrified by that. He goes, I don't want to know what I need to improve. I'm too defensive about it. I'm like, why wouldn't you want to know what you need to improve? You already know what you do good.
I want to continue to suck. That's what I want.
This guy wanted smoke blown firmly and clearly up his ass all the time. And 10 years later, he's still doing the same thing.
So listen, guys, the point of BFS TV is to give you real life strategies that Rick and I have experienced in our businesses. Rick has been involved in over 130 businesses. He has seen all of it. I've been involved in building my business from zero into something. I have seen it all. I'm telling you, you have to gauge how engaged your staff is. And the way you do it is by opening up the kimono and doing the triangle of trouble or triangle of success. Print this from businessfinishingschool.com. We'll put it up there for you. Download it, hand it out to your team. And listen, let's not forget, we want you to come to our next event. And you can go to BFS Summit, bfssummit.com, and come to our Growth Summit. Rick, tell everybody a little bit about the summit.
Yeah, we only do this twice a year, and we've been doing it for a really long time. We bring in world-renowned speakers. The content's phenomenal. We're coming off our 14th one, and the interesting thing is it was the highest rated event that we've ever had. So what do you get? You get a community of learners. You learn from each other. You learn from doing modules and activities. And everything we teach you can put on the ground on Monday morning. It's from a Friday to a Sunday, and you'll be ready to go on Monday morning. So we love doing these. We take a lot of care and pride in delivering the best live events. I've been doing events for years and years, and I do my best, and Matt does too, on making sure these events are super high value for the price you pay.
So we appreciate you tuning into this episode of BFS TV. Share it out with your friends. Share it with your employees. Share it with your colleagues. We want more people to get into the BFS tribe. And remember, if you're in business, you need business finishing skills.